Hey folks, hello from Austin, Texas. I am looking today at the newest app from Apple in their latest beta called Spatial Gallery. And I'm really impressed by this app for a number of reasons. To me, this is much more of a spatial browsing experience than anything I've seen so far with, I want to say, XR content. I've criticized WebXR in the past for never quite feeling like something browsable. You're always feeling like you need to immerse yourself in one thing, and traversal hasn't quite gotten to where it needs to be. And while this, of course, is not, a web browser that gives you the sense of scrolling through web pages and kind of, just having a feed of web pages, it does feel like a feed of video and photo content. And of course, I'm seeing all this in 3D. And there's just a lot of things about the elegance of how this is laid out in its own little, windowed format that I can kind of place wherever I want, which is really lovely, because the longer you look at one particular area, the more you get from it. And of course, like, the video will keep playing, but then you'll also see that not only is this its own video with its own cuts, but then also you see that I can actually see it progressing, and like what you get in your photos library a little bit, but I'd say even better, it'll then move on to other clips from the same content. So compare this with the immersive videos that you get from Apple Immersive, which are, of course, longer form, full VR 180 content. For those who don't know, I should introduce this as VR, not VR. I should introduce this as spatial video content being curated by really amazing photographers and filmographers. And you see here, we started with a video. Now it cycles through some just spatial photos. And then here's another video here. So, this is me hanging out in one place. I can see this is from Arcturus. I can favorite this. I can share this. But then I can also just kind of keep scrolling. And so some of these things are just images, really beautiful photo here in Istanbul. You see where it is. You see shot on iPhone. It's from Apple, et cetera, et cetera. And of course I can favorite something, and then it will show up over here in favorites. So that's nice as well. So what's also interesting about this is never going to my knowledge, become like a YouTube kind of thing where anyone can upload whatever they want. Like the Apple immersive content and Apple TV, this is going to continue to be a curated feed, maybe sometimes selected from, regular old folks out there in the world. But this is a curated list of content that Apple wants to feed you. And I think that's actually really cool. There's something nice about having, like, what Apple considers the best of the best spatial video content out there. And again, I love how scrollable this is. And it's a very wide variety of things. We go right from a dog riding in a bicycle seat or whatever to these great shots of behind the scenes content at Severance. And these are all just photos, but, amazing show, and just being able to get a couple shots here. I actually had predicted that maybe Severance would be filmed in full, VR, immersive, I keep saying VR, whatever terms we're trying to use. I thought Severance might actually end up getting its second season filmed in full immersive content, because that would have been really cool. Alas, all we have right now is some of these photos. But it's so easy to just see something for like a second, be like, cool, that's a cat. And then, like, I hang out here for a second and I see this crazy looking, looks like a holy ceremony of priests skydiving. Thanks, Red Bull. And I can watch that as much as I want to. Notice also, by the way, the audio is on by default. Kind of drives me crazy. The audio is off by default in your standard photos. I don't know if there's an easy way to change that. But it's just so scrollable. And just the fact that, like, these feel like little windows. You don't get the full effect, of course, just looking at this in 2D, but being able to just peek into these little windows as I just kind of scroll by is really cool. I really like the layout of this. I like how browsable, scrollable it is. And there's something different about kind of immersing yourself in one world versus being able to just glance into these little portals of these other parts of the world, times of day, underwater. I don't even know if that is underwater. That could be above ground. Who knows? I don't know how bioluminescence works. And then, some of these things are much longer, and you can watch them as long as you want. What's also kind of interesting, and here I am going into full immersive mode, is you'll notice it doesn't actually let you scrub. I think that's a very interesting intentional choice. Now, oh, this is interesting too. Watch the full interview. So if I click that, it's going to load it up in Apple Music. Okay, so it actually will direct you to other apps. But that's kind of interesting that you can't scrub. Like, you can only watch these things at their own pace. I can, of course, skip around to some of the other, curated pieces within these individual worlds, but they are limiting a little bit of how you experience this. If I open up Apple Immersive Content, I can scrub right through it. So there's a pretty good selection here in this first pass, behind the scenes of disclaimer. And then the final one here, just a very cool shot on top of Rogers Pass in British Columbia in Canada. Yeah, love it. Favorite that and then go to that at any time. Because of course, I'm sure this library is going to become too big to manage. Maybe it'll become less linear. Maybe there might be another, instead of just a single giant row, maybe it'll become columns. But I like the elegance of this right now. I like how curated it is. This just feels like really good design to me. And I just wanted to say, good job, Apple. It's nice. Now, compare this to one other app that's already existed, which is a little bit more like what you might call the YouTube of spatial content, and it's called Spatial Station. This is an app I've really been enjoying for a while, and you'll notice this has both rows and columns and categories. Top View this week recently uploaded, and this is all just people uploading content. And so, I want to see a spatial video of a New York cityscape. I can load this up, and look at that, beautiful time lapse done in spatial video. Now, what's tricky is not everything here is natively spatial video. Some of it is like, VR 180 and it's been converted and cropped and all that. Some of it is fake 3D. It's not post-processed. You can post-process 3D and do it correctly, but some of it is like the auto 3D stuff, and so some of it doesn't look great. I'm actually having trouble with this time lapse figuring out if this is proper 3D or not. I think it is. There were a couple moments that felt a little bit off, but I think everything feels pretty good here. But anyway, so this is different, of course, for a few reasons. I mean, I can like things. You notice that, of course, there's no social component to the spatial gallery setup. I can comment. I can go into immersive mode. That's also kind of like the spatial gallery setup, although this one doesn't have any frame at the edges. It's just 3D. I can follow any particular people here. There's video game stuff, which is pretty cool. A lot of people playing video games in 3D or VR. And I can actually see those in 3D, which looks pretty amazing, especially if it's done properly from like a native format and again, not converted automatically. But I think I was worried that the Spatial Gallery app was going to kill this really wonderful, third-party app. But I think they're actually going to live side by side pretty well. I hope, in fact, it draws more attention to Spatial Station because I love seeing the content people are uploading here. It's these wonderful little 3D immersive peeks into people's lives. Here's someone just playing there. Oh my God, I'm embarrassed. I don't know what to call that. I think it's technically a trumpet, but it also kind of looks like a clarinet. Yeah, there we go. Showing my ignorance. It's been a long time since I've had band. That's interesting, though. I'm noticing when I do the immersive mode, a lot of it isn't actually going full immersive. It keeps kind of these borders. And I don't know if that's just because of the kind of content it is, but what's something I uploaded just to check? Because I know I actually did some real spatial video. This is me looking at a Sony thing. Yeah, no, it's not giving you the same kind of immersive effect that a typical spatial video gives you. I'm not sure why. I feel like they changed that. But anyway, I encourage you, if you have access to a Vision Pro, to check out both these apps. I think they are great. If you just want some food stuff to look at, that's all great. Longer form, longer videos, most liked videos. You want to be in a Porsche. Yeah. That feels really cool. But yeah, this would be a great example of where it would be nice for this to feel like properly immersive instead of just a bigger screen. And by the way, the fact that I always see my hands overlaid pretty well over the content really does help it feel more like it's me inside these worlds and these content. So still a big fan of Vision Pro. I'm excited for all these new features coming out. There is the new beta that is on your phone, and you'll kind of see a little bit of it through here. There's not much to it right now. What's it called? You literally just type in Vision Pro, installs automatically, and My Vision Pro, and then it just tells you whatever kind of stuff about getting started. I'm sure this is eventually going to get to the point where I can curate a demo more and send apps over and hopefully, remotely download things and all that. Like, oh, the new Vision Pro beta is available, tell it to download from here. But for now, this is a pretty simple, just kind of getting started guide. This feels like a really exciting opportunity, though, for this to expand into something much more robust. So preview of things to come. And yeah, really love the curated spatial gallery setup and Spatial Station. Recommend you check both those out. All right, that's all for now. See you later. Happy day.